So my brother John passed away March 8th, 2001 in a car wreck. These are one of the things that spun me out of control and spiraled my drug addiction that would last more than 20 years. I got clean and sober eventually after several overdoses and a lot of time in jail, in and out of jail. And eventually I would take an opportunity after a spiritual experience to turn myself in and go to jail and wait for a bed and go to rehab for 6 months. I got clean at a place called DAC, also known as Turning Point. I didn't know it at the time, but I wanted to be a drug counselor, and eventually I would be. I finally landed a job at a place called Marina Harbor Detox. It's in San Francisco, and it's right on the marina, and it's in this beautiful 3-story mansion marina house. And to have that as my first job as a drug counselor, it was surreal. I would do a bunch of outdoor groups. I would do music therapies with them, relapse preventions outside. I would take them to the cemetery there, the vet cemetery, and I would have them write letters, goodbye letters to drugs and alcohol. It was an amazing first experience as a counselor, and I absolutely loved that job. I was working there for about a year. And during this time in my recovery, I just started to really get into AA and the 12 steps and doing a lot of gratitude lists in the morning and sending a lot of prayers up. I'm constantly in a conversation with God, but before I make any move, I usually pray on it. Sometimes I don't like the answer. An opportunity came through to work at the place that I got clean at. Now, if you compare the two places, it's like the White House compared to a trap house. Who's going to go back to a trap house? Well, that's what DAC was. It's a county-run facility, and as a counselor, I'd be working with Fed clients and people fresh off the streets and in jail. It would give me the opportunity to really explore the place I went through and just a spiritual lesson and opportunity. I absolutely did not want to leave Marina Harbor. I did not want to leave that beautiful mansion and go there. And so I prayed on it. And God said, "You're going." I said, "Hold up, let me renegotiate here, God." I sent up another prayer and he said, "You're going." So when God wants something, I've learned not to argue with him because then it gets real dicey. Then my vibration gets off. Then bad luck will come out of nowhere. Kind of like that movie They Live when he takes off the glasses and it's all just demons. It's all bad. And I do not want to be in that land of the lost place. So I've learned to listen to God. My whole life through my addiction and through my recovery has been like a tug of war of good versus evil, God versus the devil. So I sent up one more prayer for good measure. And God says, "I want you to do this." And so I did it. I started off this live by telling you my brother passed away in a car wreck. His name was John. And that's what kind of kicked off this whole thing. It took me 20 years to get that grief off my back. And I think about him often, especially on the day that I quit Marina Harbor, because it was the anniversary, the 20th year anniversary. March 8th, 2022. I had an old truck. I called it my daddy's truck. It was a 2000 Chevy Silverado, and it got me to and from a lot of places. So I love that truck. In fact, if that truck just died on the side of the road, I'd be like, "You know what, truck? We had a good run. Peace out." But that truck was still running. The only thing is the gas gauge was broken. And it had something like 800,000 miles on it. I'm just kidding. Probably like almost 200,000 miles or something like that. So anyways, they're like, "Why are you quitting?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I quit." I have another opportunity elsewhere. So I kept a good relationship with them and I cut out. So I'm driving back on the 101, and I'm feeling real resentful towards the situation, towards God, the fact that it's March 8th and I miss my brother, and I need an excuse to go out and relapse. I'm not going to relapse on my drug of choice, but I think I've earned a drink. The gears turned in my head and I had made the decision. I'm going to drink. I'm on the Baker Avenue exit on 101 North. And the next exit I'm about to take, I'm about to go to the liquor store and get me probably a Still Reserve 211. All of a sudden, the truck dies on the freeway. Do. I pull over, shaking my head, and I get out. And of course, I have my gas funnel. And of course, I have my 1 gallon can. And I pull out those things, and I decide to walk to the gas station to get gas. This happens a lot, and it happened with that truck a lot. Whenever I would be going through something, walking on the freeway to go get gas always gives me time to think, to put everything back in a fresher perspective. So I'm walking back, I'm looking at the truck, flipping off the truck. And I keep walking down the freeway, and literally out of nowhere, in fact, I didn't even see this guy at first when I pulled over because I'm pretty sure he wasn't there. There was, I want to say, a 75 to 80-year-old man in an old beat down work truck, just standing by his truck, tinkering with something as I walk by. And when I walk by, I can feel his energy. He has a really good vibe. And he looks up at me from his glasses. I look back at him, and he points down, and he goes, "Well, that's gas." I go, "Yeah?" He goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, you want to help me out?" He says, "Sure, but I need a gas funnel." I said, "Well, that's one thing I just happen to have." And so me and this 75 to 80-year-old man that just appeared on the side of the road start making our way back to the truck. I open the gas latch, and he gives me the gas. It's like I think it's a 1 gallon, and I just start chugging. And he's just so peaceful and full of serenity and just really happy to be 75, 80, 85, 90 years old, sitting by the side of the freeway, watching me put gas in my truck. I empty the gas in, and the thing about this truck is you have to prime it, so it doesn't usually start. And he said, "Why don't you go ahead and try to start that truck?" I'm like, "No, I got to prime it. It'll take a minute." He's like, "Give it a try." So I get in. The first key turn, the truck roars. It just comes back on. It was a first. He smiles. I get out, and he goes out and extends his hand, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Jeremy." He goes, "My name's John." I'm blown away when this happens. I've gotten a lot of God shots through my recovery and addiction. And as I sat there on the side of the road, I was just so in awe. My mind was completely changed. I didn't want to drink again. I fell back in love with humanity. And I was positive that this old man was an angel for me that day. A God shot is something that happens that was by chance and had a profound effect on you. A proven, unexpected blessing. We see them all the time in recovery. It makes you feel, when you're a losing bet, like you're a winner, like some unseen force or entity has paid complete attention to you. Thank you guys. That's my story for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow.